Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Hope everybody's doing well. Haven't been recorded in a couple of actually it's been like a week or so. But I'm back. Let me just drop my illustrious theme song.
Bodhisattva. It means enlightened being. That's beautiful. Welcome to the ceremony.
Welcome to the ceremony, y'all. Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. I won't be long, but I will be strong. I'm not going to be here talking all night, but I do have something very important that I want to say. And what I want to talk about specifically is the gentrification of Black consciousness. Now, there was a saying by Dr. Bobby E. Wright. He said, if you can control minds, you can control behinds. Meaning, if you can control somebody's thoughts and influence their thoughts, and you can influence their behaviors. And what I'm seeing happening now is that every single time we as Black people start to change our thought process, what happens is we change our identity. We change our self-perception, and we start using different words, different terminology to describe ourselves, to define ourselves, so we can empower ourselves through our own definitions. Keep in mind that, centuries ago, when we were enslaved in America, we were given the title nigger. Why were we given that title? We didn't choose that title. We were given that title because by being given that title, the individuals who bestow that title upon you, they control your thought process, they control your behavior, they control your self-perception. As the years went by, the term nigger was cast aside and people began to call themselves Negro. And then from Negro, colored. And from colored, we became African American. From African American, we became Black. Why all these title changes? Well, these title changes were happening because every single time we came to new knowledge and a new deeper understanding of ourselves, we wanted to change how we identify. You want to change somebody's behavioral patterns, you have to change how they identify. You have to change how they see themselves by constructing an identity for them, right? Or constructing an identity for yourself. So when you want to change your own behavior, it begins with constructing a new identity. What's happening now, I'm seeing, is that certain words and terms that we as Black people used at one point in time to describe ourselves are being hijacked as usual. As usual, our culture is being taken from us and hijacked from us by individuals with a colonistic mindset, and it's not who you think it is. Everybody want to point the finger at Republicans, and I'm not a supporter of the Republicans. I don't give two fucks about the Republicans. But what I am against is when Black people automatically give their trust and give their vote to liberals and Democrats. And what I'm witnessing is I'm seeing liberals and Democrats utilizing terminology that we as Black people created to define ourselves in order to ingratiate themselves with us. They're using our terminology and redefining what it means and then throwing it back in our faces. Liberals and conservatives are doing that, but I want to focus mainly on the liberals that are doing it for the plain and simple fact that the liberals are the organizations and the groups that Black people trust. And we got to stop trusting all of them. All of them. We got to stop trusting all of them. Anybody who's not willing to do something for us, they don't deserve our trust. Point blank, period, in the discussion. Now, one term in particular that I'm hearing a lot of is the term woke. This started a couple of years ago. I was reading an article about the comedian Aziz Ansari. He had a TV show that I used to watch called Master of None. It was on Netflix. It was a pretty good show. And somebody referred to him as woke because his show is very diverse. One of the main characters is LGBT. There was individuals who were had disabilities on the show. There's one episode of the show in the second season that was very brilliantly done, where it was from the perspective of an individual who was deaf. So there was like a long, 20-minute scene or a 30-minute scene where the character was going from one place to another, and there was no dialogue, not even any sound. You just would see what was happening. I thought that was very brilliantly done, and he was referred to as woke. And I'm like, Aziz Ansari is woke? When did this happen? For those of you who don't know, and those of you who are aware, the term woke is a term that we as Black people use in the conscious community. What is the conscious community? The conscious community were the individuals in the Black and Black community who were reading books, writing books on Black history, reading about Black spirituality, Black metaphysics. Many of them had studied Islam. Many of them had studied African spirituality. Many of them were studying Christian mysticisms. Many of them had adapted the accoutrement of studying ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt, as the Greeks called it. So the term woke refers to individuals who had been spiritually awakened or awakened to the truth of who we are as Black people. We're not niggas. We're not slaves. Slavery was not the totality of the Black experience. Slavery interrupted the real Black experience. And many of us didn't know that. Many of us believe what we were taught in schools. And I remember when I was very, very young, myself and a friend of mine, my very close friend, he's like my brother, my boy Jemiah, we were walking and we were talking about all the stuff we were learning in school. We had learned that civilization began in Greece and Rome, philosophy started in Greece and Rome, astronomy, science, mathematics, all of that started in Europe. That's what we were taught. They literally taught us this in school. So we were asking ourselves, what did Black people do? And we didn't know the answer. We were young, we didn't know anything, we didn't know the answer. As we got older, we began to understand that we had been lied to. That philosophy did not start in Greece and Rome. Philosophy started with the awakening of the first human mind. The first time a human being looked up at the sky and wondered what his purpose was in the universe, or where the origins of the universe, what was the origins of the universe, that was the origins of philosophy. And we know the first human mind on the planet was the Black mind, Black people who were on this planet before anybody else. We were here for millions of years before anybody else of any other complexion was here. We were here first. That was the origins of philosophy. We know the origins of civilization go way back before Greece and Rome. Greece and Rome were babies compared to African civilization that existed long before them. Africa had complex spiritual systems long before them. We had the Dogon tribe. The Dogon tribe is known for their understanding of the heavens and the movement of the heavens. They knew things about the heavens that scientists just found out and confirmed in the 1980s. So astronomy didn't start in Greece and Rome. It started in Africa. Mathematics started in Africa. You look at the buildings that were built in ancient Nubia, as well as the buildings that were built in ancient Kemet or Egypt. It took mathematics to have that kind of level of artistic sophistication. So for them to tell us that we as Black people contributed nothing in a world that we started civilization. Everything that people have now, technology, civilization, it all started from us. And when you start to learn these things, you become woke. You become awakened. Before you were asleep because you were unconscious. You had no knowledge of who you are. Now you are woke. You have been awakened. And that's the terminology that we use. But now that term has been hijacked by liberals. Why? Because liberals want to continue to control Black behavior. And a big part of controlling Black behavior is to control the language. Linguistics is a major part of control. And you want to control identity. The last thing you want is a bunch of Black people running around identifying and defining themselves. If you define yourself, that's too much akin to autonomy. The minute you start defining who you are for yourself is the minute you start to think for yourself. And the minute you start to think for yourself is the minute you start to free yourself from any level of external control, whether it be political, cultural, legalistic. You'll fight all control the minute you start to think for yourself. The minute something is unfair to you, the minute something is unjust, you're going to resist. And in order to curb any kind of revolution, what you have to do is A, you're going to need a class of individuals who are willing to be oppressed. And B, you're going to need to control the language, the history, and identity of the people. And that's why the liberals are using the term woke and why the conservatives are attacking the term woke. And we can't let that happen. What does woke mean to liberal people? Nowadays, the term woke, it just means progressive. And what does progressive mean? Progressive means that it's accepting of LGBT, it is accepting of transgenderism, it is accepting of abortion, it is accepting of feminism. That's woke. So they've taken what we define as woke and rearranged it to something that suits them. Now, keep in mind, most of the individuals in the Black community who were considered woke, these individuals were Muslim. These brothers were Hebrew Israelites. These brothers were Kemetics. These brothers were studying Yoruba. They were studying Vodun. They had nothing to do with transgenderism, homosexuality, bisexuality. They had nothing to do with it whatsoever. So the term has been completely rebranded to fit and suit what white liberals want it to mean. These guys were strict Muslims. These women were strict Muslims. They didn't have nothing to do with anything that these individuals consider to be woke nowadays. So the term has been completely stolen and whitewashed. And we can't let that happen. We can't let them define what our terminology means in regards to us. Because now, instead of woke meaning that you are willing to fight and stand on the truth of Black awareness and Black consciousness, now woke just means that you accept gay white people. And I don't have no problem with gay people whatsoever. But my whole thing is, if you are Black, you should work in the interest of yourself. But now woke doesn't mean that you're working in the interest of yourself. That's what woke used to mean. Woke used to mean you've awakened and now you're willing to do things for your own self-interest, to preserve yourself, to preserve your culture, to preserve the history of the ancestors. Now woke just means that you're willing to accept their definition of morality. Does that mean I'm bashing gay people? No, it don't. It don't at all. What it means is that I want terminology that we create as black people to be to the benefit of black people. And that makes a lot of liberals nauseous. It makes them sick to their stomach, the idea that we as black people have the audacity, we have the nerve to try to define ourselves. And we define ourselves in a manner that makes them uncomfortable. They're not willing to let us define ourselves. So they send in their agents, because keep in mind, you can't have white supremacy without agents, black agents, individuals who look like you, who are willing to come in your midst, learn the language, learn terminology, and then bring it back to the enemy. When I studied the Moorish Science Temple of America, for example, the Moorish Science Temple of America was one of the first woke movements. It was started by a brother named Drew Ali. He was born, I believe, in one of the Carolinas towards the end of slavery. He had a very mysterious origin, because back then they didn't keep careful records of black people's history. So he was born, nobody really knows exactly what date. Noble Drew Ali, after he was born, he went traveling throughout the country, ended up going to the east. He went to ancient Egypt, where he was initiated in the secret order, and came back. He was initiated as a Muslim in a secret order that studied Kemetic spirituality. He was an adept, meaning that he was an initiate, a teacher, right? So he came back and gave black people in the black community this knowledge. If you look at the files in the CIA, right, the CIA archives, there was information about the Noble Drew Ali, and they had taken the lessons of the Moorish Science Temple, and you can find the lessons, all the lessons right there in the CIA files, in the CIA archives. So that means that somebody who was black, right, had to go to the Moorish Science Temple of America. At the time, I believe it was called the Moorish Temple of America. Get to know the individuals on the inside. He had to get initiated, had to go through an orientation process, had to memorize the lessons, had to gain everybody's trust, then take the information back to the CIA. And then they started, and then once they do that, they learn our terminology, they learn the words, they learn the terms, and they can send in more infiltrators. And that's how you control behavior, and that's how you tear apart these organizations. They attempted the same thing with the Nation of Islam. And as a matter of fact, they say the individuals who killed Malcolm X were members of the Nation of Islam, but of course they were not true members. They were actually agents. So in order for them to be able to destroy us, they have to send in individuals who get to know us, they learn our terminology, they begin using the terminology. So the Nation of Islam, they greet each other, they say, Assalamu alaikum. And then they say, Walaikum salam, sir. That's how they greet each other. That's how they speak. They sent somebody in the Nation of Islam who learned that language and learned that lingo and started using it. That's why it's careful. We don't let individuals use our terminology for their benefit. Don't let white liberals take black terminology and use it for their benefit. If you black, any terminology you use to define yourself should benefit yourself. The reason why we chose this terminology is to empower ourselves. And the beginning was the word was with God, and the word was God. What does that mean? That means the words that we use to define ourselves give us power. They bring out divinity within us if we use the proper words, or it can bring the devil out of you. And a lot of these individuals are using the term woke as a means of bringing the devil out of black people. So instead of us fighting for our own benefit, we fighting for the benefit of other organizations, other groups, other communities who don't give two fucks about us. No, I don't think you should be using the term woke. If you wasn't in the woke community, keep your fucking mouth closed. Pardon my language, but it is what it is. The individuals who started using that terminology to define black empowerment and black knowledge of self, they don't condone none of the stuff that y'all using the term woke to mean. Woke is not no term for your corny TV show. Woke is not no term for your corny political agenda. You know what I mean? We use those terms as a means of letting people know, don't watch TV. On TV, there's no truth. Those terms were used to let people know, yo, don't play their political games. The only individuals who play those political games are the individuals who are still asleep. Stay away from it. In the Bible, it says, Babylon, Babylon, get out of her, but she's become the habitation of unclean spirits. So becoming woke means we stay away from that stuff. Now they're using the term woke to lure people back in. He's woke. He supports our agenda. Therefore, he must be woke. He supports what we're doing. He must be woke. You see him woke on TV shows and all that nonsense. First, it started off with that show, the black show, Dear White People, which is really just a means of promoting interracial relationships. It wasn't really a show about black empowerment at all. It was very liberal, and it was designed specifically to promote a liberal white democratic agenda. Right? They were the first ones to attack the term woke. Then after a few years after they attacked the term woke in the black community, the use of the term woke in the black community, all of a sudden the term woke reappeared once again in national consciousness, but it reappeared in the hands of white liberals. So first they disconnected black people from the term, or they tried to. And then once they disconnected us from the term was taken up and snatched up by individuals who are our enemies. They are the ops. Now, granted, as a person who meditates, I understand that the idea of it, I'm not at war with nobody. I'm at war within myself. It's an inner war for spiritual development. But at the same time, I also understand that outside of me, there are individuals who mean me no good. They mean to do us harm. And we can't keep letting these individuals manipulate us like that. They use that TV show to promote their agenda, snatch the term woke from us, and then utilize the term woke. So the term woke has now become the brand of the modern day white liberal. So now the term woke is associated with things that individuals in the black community had nothing to do with and want nothing to do with. So many really awakened black people want nothing to do with promoting abortion. These are men and women who have traditional family values and they don't support abortion. Men and women who have traditional values who don't support the use of recreational drugs. Men and women with traditional values who don't support anything LGBT. They don't support teaching little kids about, gay sex in schools. But yet now the term has been used to denote those things. They snatched away something that we use to define ourselves and our culture, and they're utilizing it for themselves. We can't let that happen. Even the term black has been hijacked. If you look at modern day media, the term black, when you see black TV shows, these black TV shows are controlled all by white people, and they're controlled by white people with a liberal agenda. So you see a black TV show. What does the term black mean? If you are a black man on TV, you're a buffoon or a criminal. If you're a black man on TV and you're in a relationship with a black woman, you're weak, you're passive, you're stupid, or you're ultra violent. If you're a black man and you're intelligent, you're in an interracial relationship. Or if you're a black man and you're liked by Caucasians, then you're usually gay. That's what the definition of black has become in the hands of the liberal Caucasian. We can't let other people define what black means. We are the mothers and fathers of civilization. We were the first human beings on the planet. We are the sons and daughters of the direct physical descendants of the supreme being of the universe. We can't let other people define us. Our power comes in self-definition. And when I say these things, I don't mean I got problems with anybody who's gay or anybody who's whatever. I don't care about any of that. But what I'm saying is that our definition of ourselves should empower us and not other people's agenda. Let's be serious here. We need to define who we are. We got to take back our terminology and gatekeep our culture. Yes, I've never been a fan of the whole idea that our culture is for everybody. Joseph Chilton Pierce, in his book, The Biology of Transcendence, says that a culture is a set of survival tactics handed down from one generation to the next. How you going to welcome somebody else into your survival tactics? What you need to survive is spatial temporal, meaning that it is specific to where you are and when you live. So somebody else can't come in and just make themselves at home in your culture, because what they need to survive might be different from what you need to survive. Or what they think they need to survive could be quite different from what you need to survive. For a lot of these liberals, they believe that in order to survive, they must dominate over you. See, we as black people, we don't think like that. I'm not thinking in terms of dominating over anybody. We know the horrors of dominating over other human beings. We don't want that. These white liberals believe that in order for them to survive, they must dominate and eventually destroy you. They have to define you. They can't let you define yourself. In no way, shape, or form are they ready and willing to let you define who you are as a black person. They have to define who you are for you, because that takes power. They know they still have. How do they know they still have power over you? Two ways. A, if you're still voting, they know they still have power over you because that means you still have faith in their system. Two, if they can define who you are, if they can take your terminology and change the definitions. So they've changed the definition for woke to suit their agenda, and they're slowly but surely changing the definition for black to suit their agenda. And the time is going to come in a not too distant future where we as black people won't even have a definition of ourselves that we're familiar with unless we stop this bullshit now. Full stop. No easing into it. No worrying about whether the car is going to slide on the wet ground. Just hit the brakes now. Redefine for yourself what blackness means. And we got to understand that there is no equivalent. We got to define it for ourselves. Black does not mean LGBT. The LGBT community has their own agenda. We as black people, we might have a separate agenda. Black does not mean that we are in favor of abortion. You know what I mean? Individuals who promote abortion might have a different agenda from us. There's no equivalent. There's no social cultural equivalent. I don't give a flying fuck what the intersectionalists say. Black is different from feminism. Feminists might have an agenda that goes against the agenda for blackness. So we have to define for ourselves what it is. There is no intersectionality in a system of white supremacy. I don't give a shit if you are a black woman, you a black feminist, if you're a black liberal, black Democrat, black, it don't matter. In a system of white supremacy, there is no cultural equivalent, no social equivalent, no linguistic equivalent for what black means. We got to define what that is for us. And there ain't no black and. We just define what blackness is and stop trying to include these other ideas and concepts so that we can ameliorate how we define ourselves so that other people will find us less repulsive. There are people out there who hate us and mean to wipe us out. You see that these individuals are trying to wipe out black history. You know that once they start wiping out your history, then not too long after that, they start wiping out the people. So don't worry about trying to make individuals like you. They make it perfectly clear what they think about you. They don't like you. They don't want nothing to do with you. Fuck them. Stand your ground. Define who you are for yourself and stop being a pussy. Stop being a chump. Stop letting other people convince you that it's okay for them to come into our home and define who we are for us. Fuck all that hip hop is for everybody bullshit. Fuck all that we're all in this together bullshit. Do I believe in the unity of all humanity? Of course I believe in the unity of all humanity. Do I believe that we're all human beings and that we're all equal? Absolutely, I believe we're all human beings and we're all equal. But at the same time, I'm aware of the fact that there's other individuals who don't believe it. So I'm going to act accordingly. Unfortunately, in this universe, in the universe of Ishfet, where there's balance, which is ma'at, peace, order, reciprocity, that's ma'at. And then chaos, entropy, destruction, death, deception, that is Ishfet. And unfortunately, in a universe where Ishfet is a possibility of existence or the reality of existence, we gotta make our plans based upon Ishfet. We make our plans based upon what could go wrong. We base our plans based upon trying to prevent negative things from happening. We can't make plans necessarily based upon these wonderful ideals of human unity. We just have to sometimes make plans based upon the fact that we are in the midst of a cultural war that we're losing. What is the devil? The other day I was laying in bed contemplating and I had a horrible revelation that the idea of the devil is an unseen spirit that controls people and makes them do wicked things. And I was just thinking about how a lot of these liberal ideas are the devil. These ideas, these thoughts are the devil. I don't believe in no spook spirit devil floating around. I don't believe in none of that. But these ideas that have embedded themselves into the mind of black people, these ideas are the devil. They stare in our behavior in ways that would have been unthinkable to us. 100 years ago, 200 years ago, a lot of the things that we accept now because of the definitions of ourselves that we've been given by individuals outside of our community, the things that we're doing now would have been unthinkable. We are under mind control. Yes, that sounds like a conspiracy theory. It sounds like I'm crazy. I know, but it's true. Because if somebody else tells you what it is to be black, if somebody else has the audacity to argue with you what it means to be black, that means that they are under mind control and so are you. You let other people who ain't black define for you what black is. And just because somebody's standing in front of you and having a conversation with you and they look black, that don't mean that behind the scenes they don't have somebody who ain't black pulling the strings for them. A lot of these democratic organizations, these liberal organizations that have black people out front, they got white people in the back. They got Democrats in the back controlling their behavior. Look at the Black Lives Matter movement. They changed and rearranged the definition of what it is to be black and benefited from it. And a lot of white people got paid a shit ton of money by rearranging and redefining what it means to be black. I was at a Black Lives Matter march. Shout out to my man Star. My man Star invited me. And Star called me up. He's like, yo, Dave, you want to speak to the people? I said, of course. Hell yeah. So we got up on the stage. I went up there first. I spoke and said my piece. Then Star got up there. He spoke and he said his piece. The crowd was excited because we were saying some revolutionary, powerful stuff. I got off the stage. Star got off the stage. We walking. As we were walking away, there was a little booth that was set up with some beautiful young sisters at this booth. Really attractive. And they were calling us over. Come over here. Come over here. So we went over to the booth. And it's like a little table there. And they were telling us that we had to register to vote. And we had to register to vote Democrat. Now I'm standing there and I'm like, hold on, this is Black Lives Matter. We just had a march because they had just killed George Floyd. We were marching for Breonna Taylor. We were marching for Philando Castile, chanting their names. And we think that this is all about us and about empowering ourselves. And immediately once we finish talking, we walk off the stage and they're putting their real agenda right in front of you. Their real agenda is not black empowerment. Their real agenda from the minute it was founded was to promote empowerment for Democrats. Democrat and black are not equivalent terms. They're not synonyms. Get that out of your freaking head. Who put that idea in your head? Just because something is for the Democrats don't mean that it's for black people. And we should know better. But these individuals controlled our behavior by controlling our definition of who and what we are. They were the ones pulling the strings, and they used the term black as a means of drawing us in and then redefine what black means. They drew us in saying this is for black empowerment, this is for black people. We like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. And then they switched it like, okay, vote Democrat. So they took the term black and tried to make black equivalent with Democrat. This is about empowering the Democratic Party. It's not about empowering black people. It's about white liberals getting what they want. And how do they do that? By redefining the terminology. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. If they can control the words that we use to define ourselves, to control our behavior. If you woke, great. Stay woke. Use the terminology as much as possible and snatch it back from them. You black, stay black. Be black as hell. Snatch the terminology back from them. Stop letting these suckers influence our thought process. And stop letting these suckers define who we are. Black does not mean liberal. Black means whatever we say it means. Black does not mean LGBT. It means what we say it means. Black does not mean feminist. It means what we say it means. These terms, these words and these terms, are words and terms we didn't create. Why are we using these words and terms to describe who we are? We have the intelligence, the capacity, the intellectual capacity, the innovation to be able to define who we are for ourselves. Fuck their definition of who you are. Tell them I said rotten hell. I define who I am for me. And my definition of who I am is to support a black empowerment agenda, not to support your agenda, not to support what you want, not to give you what you want, not to make sure that you get what you need. I'm here to promote an agenda that satisfies what I need. That's going to give me what I need. It's going to empower the community. That's what it means to have your own sense of self. Knowledge of self is about you defining what and who you are for your own benefit. That's what knowledge of self means. Knowledge of self does not mean voting Democrat. If you choose to vote Democrat, that's fine. I want you to understand the subtlety of my argument. Understand the subtlety of what I'm saying. If you vote Democrat of your own volition, that's fine. I don't give a fuck. What I'm saying is, don't let other people define what you should do for you. You LGBT, notice the subtlety of what I'm saying. That's fine. Live your life as you choose. I am an advocate of personal freedom, but understand that being LGBT is not necessarily equivalent to being black. They're not the same. There might be a new law that passes that benefits you as a member of the LGBT community. Simultaneously, they're going to pass a law that screws your black ass over. They are not equivalent. They might pass a law to stand up for gay marriage, but they haven't passed the law. They haven't put together a commission, a police oversight commission to protect black people from police brutality yet. They are not the same. Define who you are for yourself. And make sure there's a clear definition of what we mean and who we mean when we say black. I am a black man. Yes, I know my Moorish brothers are going to make the argument that black is a legal term. I get it. I'm not knocking you. I'm not saying that that's not a good argument. But the point I'm making is, just for the sake of efficiency, I'm going to use the terminology black. Yes, I'm black. I am a black man. Full-blooded black. Real black. Black is shit. And I don't let nobody else define who I am. Like I said, I'm a direct physical descendant of the supreme being of the cosmos. The Bible says that God created man first. Quran says that God created man. And so all the angels to bow down, and the only one who didn't bow down was the angel Iblis, was the jinn Iblis. Well, if God created man, and the first man was a black man, that means that God made the black man in his image. And even if you take the spirituality out of it, take the Bible out of it, take the Quran out of it, let's look at mathematics, look at science, look at biology. All of it says that black people were here first. And if God is the universe, which some people believe, the universe made us first. If God is random, as a random act, we were first. Direct physical descendants of whatever force or power exists in the universe that makes life. Us. We define ourselves. We don't let our offspring define us. We're not gonna let liberals define us no more. And this video might get blocked. I don't know. We'll see. But peace and blessings to all of y'all. Y'all have a wonderful evening. I'ma holler at y'all another time. And here's my
Psychotropic elements inside the lyrics, homie.
what the
Bodhisattva. It means enlightened being. That's beautiful. Yeah. Welcome to the ceremony. Psychotropic elements inside the lyrics, homie.
yes indeed. I'ma holler. Peace.